Okay, guys, so today I am in vent mode, more or less super mom event mode. My son came home yesterday to let me know that the schedule changed. Well, let's start off with this. He had a conflict last Friday with the teacher. And he came home, he said, Mom, Mr. Johnson said that I said something and I didn't say it. My son asked him, could he sign his field trip form? He brought to the teacher and he said that he was pretty much busy and he couldn't do it or whatever. And my son walked away and said, well, never mind. That's okay. And he walked away. My son has a tendency to mumble. He has a tendency to, if you don't pay him attention right then and there, he will be like, oh, that's okay. Don't worry about it. So he wrote him on a referral stating that he told him to kiss his ASS. My son doesn't curse. If I was to curse around my son would have a fit. Both my kids do not like cursing. They don't like to be cursed at, and they don't like to hear and they don't use curse words. So I know my son didn't say that, but my son did tell him that was okay. Forget about it. He basically told him to forget about it. Never mind, because that's a part of how he does stuff. I know that for a fact. So then I said, well, fine, we'll handle it once they process whatever. So Monday, he brought home the referral, and I got a phone call Monday, and the administrator was like, well, he doesn't seem like the type of kid to do anything like that, but of course, the teacher is saying this, and your son is denying it and saying this. And he said, well, what we're going to do is just keep him out of the classroom for this one day. And I said, okay, fine. I was like, okay, but you need to make sure that his work is with him. He's able to complete whatever assignments are required of him if you're choosing to keep him out of the class for the day, because he has to stay up on his work. Fine. So the following day, Tuesday, my son had a appointment scheduled for the doctor. So I said I'll take the time to go ahead and schedule a meeting with all of his teachers, which is something that I do every year. I do it like every 9 weeks of the school term. So I scheduled appointments. Well, I went in to check him out. It took the lady 30 minutes to check him out. And then I went in to schedule the appointment. Well, the lady, after I want to schedule with all of his teachers with the exception of his gym teacher. I don't really need to talk to his gym teacher. He gets an A in gym, you know what gym consists of, and there's no problem. I just want to talk to his academic teachers, which there is no problem with. I need to know where he sits in their eyes and just have that open line of communication so they understand that I invested in my child's education. So we're sitting there, and the lady's like, well, do you want to meet with his art teacher? I was like, art? I was like, my son doesn't have an art class. If he does, his first period class is art. It says it right here on his schedule. They've gone into the system and changed my son's schedule completely. I was like, I don't know this teacher. My son doesn't have an art class. Well, long story short, we find out that his class was changed that day. I'm like, well, who changed it? Nobody could give me an answer. And finally, they got me over to the vice principal who changed the schedule. So I go into her office. She said, well, Mr. Johnson came into me this morning and he requested that he be moved out of his class. Now, mind you, not once did Mr. Johnson ever contact me nor the school. Not once have my son had any type of conflict or issues at the school. My son has never been in trouble at the school. So why did Mr. Johnson request that he just be moved out of his class all of a sudden? Okay. I have an issue with that. You can't just automatically change a child's schedule to accommodate your teacher's request. First of all, my son is the only African American student in the classroom. And all of his classes, with the exception of his gym class, my son is the only one. He has all AP and advanced classes. So, and he's outside of their normal district and he goes to school up there. Why did the teacher just all of a sudden, instead of saying, well, I need a parent-teacher conference so that we can resolve, because I think this is going to be a challenging semester or whatever. You didn't contact me at all or try to resolve whatever issue you were having, because my son was just like, okay, it happened and we're just moving on. He didn't have any issues with it. You, as a teacher, had an issue, and you and your buddy in the office want to get together and move my son and just rearrange his whole schedule. So, in the course of you rearranging his schedule, you took him out of a class and you didn't put him in the same class. No. You put him in a totally different class, so when he goes into the class, he's informed by the teacher that he needs to stay after school to make up work so that he can catch up with everybody else that's in this new class that you put him in. Are you serious? This school is almost 2 hours away from my house. And it's not his fault, or nor did I request that his schedule be changed, but you're going to tell him that he has to stay after school to make up work in a class that he wasn't even originally scheduled for to accommodate a teacher's preference? I don't think so. That's real shady to me. And especially being that he's the only black child in your classroom, you're just going to all of a sudden ask that he be moved after you just had one well, I won't even say it was altercation, because it wasn't a heated altercation. It was just the fact you said that he said something that, and he said that he didn't say it, and you didn't agree with it. You asked that he be moved out of your class. You didn't even make an attempt to resolve an issue or anything. I have an issue with that, because to me, looking at it from the way I'm looking at it, and you just didn't want him in your classroom. And being that he's the only African American student in your classroom, I think you have a preference. I'm sorry, but that's how I'm viewing it right now. No, I do not want my son changed back into his class. And even it affected his math class, because where he was in one math class, he's moved to the same teacher, but that math class is on something totally different than what his other math class is working on. So you've thrown his schedule off and his learning off completely to accommodate this teacher's preference. That is unacceptable. The rules are that you need to contact the parent. The parent was never contacted. The only reason I know my son's schedule was changed, the only reason he knows his schedule was changed, because I, as a parent, was requesting something outside of the norm and to speak to all of his teachers. If I had not requested that, we wouldn't have known that his schedule had been changed. I wouldn't have been informed that his schedule had been changed. So I have an issue. So it made me think about Tantalizing when she was venting about you work for the school the other day. I feel like if you work for the school, you need to know the rules to how the school board works. And evidently you didn't read the manual, because you're not following protocol. You never once notified me as a parent. You took it upon yourself to make a change to accommodate a teacher. That's unacceptable. I didn't even request the change. I had no problem with speaking with the teacher. My son wasn't an issue. Prior to, I can see if my son had been one of these students that you're constantly, he's getting written up on a referral, he's not completing his work. I could see you wanting to change his schedule, but even then, you would need to contact the parent and advise that such changes may take effect, because these changes that you decide to make impacts his learning. It impacts his overall experience in school, and you just think it's okay to just do what you want to do. No, we don't work like that. So what I've done is contacted the school, which is the first step. I have to contact the school and give them an opportunity to rectify the situation. Contacted the principal and scheduled an appointment with the principal, and I feel like they're not, I'm sorry guys, if I feel like they're not able to resolve the issue, the next step is for me to file a written complaint with their district cluster, which if they can't resolve the issue, then it goes straight to the school board. But once I file that written complaint, it's on record for that school. So I was really livid this morning about the whole situation. It just really pissed me off, because I don't play about my kids' education, and I just feel like Okay, my son already feels a little alienated because he's the only black kid in 90% of his class. He only has the one class that is mixed one, and then he said he has another class that and maybe two of them in the class. But he already feels a little alienated because of that. Um, this is the first year that this school has accepted kids outside of the district. It's a really good school. They have awesome programs and it's an awesome school, and I really wanted my son to be there. But I think that they look at me and they just see this young black woman. First of all, not knocking single parents or baby mamas that never. I was a wife, okay, and now I just happen to be a single parent. Secondly, even with that being said, even if I was just a single parent, um, initially, the thing about it is I am a parent that is active in my child's life. Don't think because I'm young and I'm African American that I'm your stereotypical African American parent that doesn't care, that's not gonna do what it's required. No, because all parents aren't that. All African American parents aren't what you see on television. I'm vested in my child's education. I knew every child's name that graduated with my son out of his 8th grade class. I was at the school just that often. I could look every one of those kids in the face and call them by their name. Same thing with my daughter in her school. Everyone in her school knows me because I take an active role in their life. I am not the parent that just wait for something to happen. I'm there because I don't want nothing to happen, and I want you to know that I'm there and that I'm invested in them, so that you can look and say, well, maybe we need to, because I don't play about my kids. So I'm sorry for my little rant, guys, but it just really pissed me off this morning. And then it just back again to tantalizing. She was just like, she was talking about her issue with the school and dealing with communication over the phone with them on the school and stuff. And what I was telling her is you have the key to walking on water is knowing where the rocks are. You have to know. You have to go in there and you have to have some knowledge of how their system works. What the general rules are in regards to handling situations, because if you just walk in there and you're asking them for guidance and doing things, you're not going to get the answers you want. You're going to get the answers that they want to give you, and you have to let them know, I'm intelligent, I know enough to know that this is not right, and you're going to handle this appropriately. Even though you may not know everything, you know enough to push them to the point where they know they can't just tell you anything. But that's it, guys. I just wanted to vent today. That's it. I just kind of wanted to vent, and I just want to let you guys know that when it comes down to dealing with situations with school systems and stuff, especially if you're in the public sector of school, you have to know how they function and how they work, so that you can work the system and not let the system work you. And you can't let your kids fall through the cracks. It's very important, and it's extremely important for us minorities to let these people understand and know that we are vested in our child's education and we care, because they have this mentality or they have this preconceived notion that we don't care and that we're not going to be actively involved. But I am, and I want them to understand that I'm going to be there. So I'll follow up with you guys later and let you know exactly how they decide that they're going to resolve the issue. More than likely it's going to come out the way I want it to come out. I don't want him back in the guy's class. I just want there to be some type of balance and fairness, because if he's already kicked him out of the class because he doesn't want him there, he's not going to grade him fairly if he's placed back in the classroom. When if he really wanted the quote-unquote issue he was having resolved, he would have contacted the parent and he would have sat down with me and he would have said, this is what's going on. We need to kind of, talk about this situation and try to resolve the issue that he may be having with me, or vice versa. That didn't happen. It's not going to happen. But I have an appointment scheduled to meet with him as well as his other teachers and assistants, and I'll let you guys know how that pans out as well. But that's it. I've talked for way too long, but that's it. But you guys let me know how do you handle issues when you're dealing with the school system or your kids in general, or do you notice that when you go into that type of setting as young African American, or even, I mean, and young parents in general, because I feel like there's a bias when it comes down to if you're a younger parent versus if you're an older parent, more mature parent, because uh, it's there. People stereotype us in thinking that we're a bit selfish and that we're not invested in our child's life. But if you would leave a comment down below and let me know, or even a video response would be appreciated. And just let me know, how do you handle school situations with your kids or even with yourself, because I know many of us are, even though we're working parents, we're also full-time students as well, and there's things that can occur in those instances. But leave me a comment and let me know. I'm curious to know how you guys handle these situations. Thanks.